Hey everyone, I'm Rachel, and today I want to show you how to create ripped or torn edges on old paper using the Color Therapy app. In this tutorial, I'll focus on the torn edges so you can see how to apply it to any content. This technique can make any of your paintings look like they are old or vintage. It also helps to make the image on the paper have some dull or antique colors. If you guys want to follow along with the same image, go under the Classic tab, select Art, and then scroll down to Paisley. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is fill in the background, which will be the paper. So let's open up that color palette, go under Shades, and then scroll to Brown 2. Select Gradient, and then I want to choose a light brown gradient. So I'm going to just grab that one there. Then I also want to get a solid dark brown, and that will be for our shadows. So I'll get dark brown from there, and then we also want a basic white. So just under the basic palette, solid white. So now we're ready to get started. So with that medium gradient brown, let's go ahead and just set that to radial gradient so the lighter part is in the middle, and just tap to fill. Okay, so at this point you can go ahead and color in your image however way you want. I'm just going to color this in with the same colors from the background. So I'm just going to sample some of those colors and just tap to fill those in. And it's helpful to choose colors that do blend in with the paper a little bit. It just helps to make it look a little more old and vintage. So duller colors are sometimes better for that. But you can still accomplish the same results with like a dull blue or green or reds, pretty much any color. Okay, so let's go ahead and start to make our paper look old and like it's falling apart. So let's select that dark brown color in the manual mode, open that up. Let's select the spray tool and let's raise the size all the way to 100, and let's have the opacity at 50. And then let's have coloring inside the lines mode 2 on, and we're just going to spray that color around the edges here. And we are going to be erasing the corners soon. So it can be kind of random, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of trying to blend it in to the picture. Now let's go ahead and erase those edges. So select white, and then in the manual mode again, let's switch to AIRBRUSH this time. We want the opacity to be at 100 now, and we're just gonna quickly start to erase all those edges. And you can make the corners of the paper a little bit rounded if you want. And we're gonna further clean those up in a little bit. You just really wanna make sure that the edges down here are definitely white. Okay, let's go ahead and start making those edges look like they're ripped. In the manual mode, just lower the size to about 3%. And then zooming in, you're gonna start to clean up those edges. So we don't want them to look fuzzy. We want them to look like actual paper. So just start to clean them up. And then you can start to add in bits of torn edges in the paper. So those torn edges will kind of look like little triangles, and they're just jagged on the end. So you can make them as large as you want or as small as you want. You can make some longer and some shorter. So go ahead and apply that around all of the edges. Okay, so let's add some torn pieces of paper that are being rolled up. So let's go ahead and just select one corner here. I'm going to use the white, and I'm going to just start to erase parts of the paper here. And I'm doing this in a sort of a rectangular shape. And it's a little bit curved to one side. It also does help to look at a reference, so then you can really see how the paper looks when it's rolled up. So after you're done erasing the area where the paper is going to be torn, just select that dark brown, and then we want to raise or lower the size to 0. So then what we're going to do is, starting from that point right there, we're going to just sort of draw a straight line, just outlining the shape of that piece of torn paper. And then we're going to bring it down here and then around like that. So it's kind of an abstract shape. And then from the other edge of that erased area, we're just going to connect it sort of in a curved shape just like that. And then finally, we'll just finish the shape like that. So now it looks like a piece of paper is sort of curling over. Now let's go ahead and start to add the shading and highlights. So in the manual mode, let's just lower that opacity to 35%. And I'll just raise the size just a tad to between 1 and 3%. And now I'm going to add a shadow just right underneath the paper here. So I'm using that dark brown still and kind of curving with the paper edge and blending it out. And then if you want to further the darkness of your shadows, just grab a basic solid black and then just zoom in there so you can see better. And then you can start to add a dark core shadow just on the inside lines of the paper there. So I'm just going to blend that into the paper as much as I can. And sometimes it helps just to raise the size a little bit. You need to get a larger space covered in and blended. You also want to add the shadow just at the top area right here of the torn paper, and then also down here at the bottom. And I'm just going to kind of outline those edges again so they don't look so harsh. We want them to just kind of blend in. And then let's add our highlights with just that white, and then select manual mode and let's raise the size to 15%. I'm just going to add it in the middle of the top area of that paper there. So now it's starting to come to life. I just want to further add more shadows and just begin to continue blend it in here. You can also do a different kind of edge. So for example, over here, just using the same settings that we had before with our size at 0 and opacity 100, using the dark brown again, we'll just outline the ripped edge that we want to draw. And this one you can kind of like make a jagged edge like that and then just connect it there. And then what you'll want to do is add a shadow behind that, and then you'll do a little bit of a highlight right there. So just using those same settings that we had before. Use the wet painting effect or the classic painting effect to further add texture to your painting. In this piece, I also set the lines to a medium brown. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.